Welcome to Mind Snack. They weren't movie heroes. They lived by honor, died by the sword, and left behind secrets that are as chilling as they are fascinating. Behind the armor and legends were men who trained in brutal rituals, fought wars with terrifying precision, and followed codes that demanded loyalty over life itself. Some died in battle, some died by their own hand, and some left marks on history so dark they still haunt the shadows of Japan today. This is the world of the samurai, ruthless, disciplined, and far more mysterious than you ever imagined. By the end of this video, you'll see the samurai in a way most history books never dare to show. 1. Seppuku, ritual suicide. Seppuku wasn't just a suicide. It was the ultimate proof of honor. Samurai who failed their master, lost in battle, or broke their code were expected to slice open their own stomach in front of witnesses. The ritual began with a farewell poem, a white kimono, and kneeling on a special mat. Then, with trembling hands but unwavering discipline, the samurai would plunge the blade into his abdomen. Often, a kaishakunin, a trusted second, would decapitate him to spare prolonged suffering. But even in death, the samurai's honor mattered more than life itself. Some warriors performed seppuku voluntarily to atone for failure, while others did it to escape capture. Entire villages watched in silent horror, knowing that the act symbolized loyalty and courage in a way words could never convey. Seppuku wasn't just ritual, it was psychological warfare. The sight of a man calmly killing himself, fully aware of the pain, sent fear and respect through both allies and enemies. 2. Junshi, following your master in death. Junshi was the practice of following one's lord into death. Entire groups of samurai sometimes committed suicide after their master fell, believing service extended beyond life itself. It was a cruel devotion. Families were devastated, towns left empty, and yet in the eyes of the samurai, living without one's master was worse than death. Some lords encouraged Junshi to solidify their legacy, a display of ultimate loyalty that terrified rivals and inspired awe. Historical records tell of retainers leaving notes, meticulously arranging their weapons, and even writing last messages to the living. A grim ritual that blurred devotion with obsession. 3. Collecting enemy heads. In the brutal culture of war, victory was measured in heads. Samurai decapitated enemies and presented their heads to their lord as proof of victory. Some heads were washed, perfumed, and stored in elaborate collections. Others were mounted on stakes outside castles as a warning. Competition over the most heads was common. A samurai could rise in status or lose favor based on his tally. In some cases, heads were used to resolve disputes between samurai families, cementing honor through gruesome trophies. The psychological weight of this practice ensured obedience, fear, and a deep respect for the power of the warrior class. 4. The Curse of the Heike Ghosts. After the Genpei War, the defeated Heike clan left behind stories of ghosts haunting rivers, battlefields, and villages. Survivors swore they saw pale, armored warriors dragging fishermen and ships into the water. Villages avoided certain battlefields for generations. Samurai commanders sometimes hesitated to march through areas rumored to be haunted. These stories reveal the lasting psychological impact of war, how defeat and bloodshed spawned legends, fears, and cultural taboos that endured for centuries. Fifth night raids and psychological warfare. The samurai didn't just fight with swords, they fought with terror. Night raids involved fire, drums, war cries, and sudden ambushes designed to terrify the enemy before battle even began. Some commanders studied their enemies for months, learning psychological weaknesses. They would time attacks to maximize confusion, making soldiers see shadows and hear phantom cries, breaking morale before combat even started. A skilled samurai could win without lifting a blade, purely by exploiting fear. 6. Heads on display. After battles, defeated enemy heads were mounted on spikes outside castles and towns. This served as a warning and a demonstration of authority. Some heads were treated with care, perfumed and kept as historical trophies. Others were left to rot in the sun, a constant reminder of the fate awaiting those who defied the samurai. The presence of these displays shaped local culture. Children grew up learning fear and respect from the sight of skulls, and soldiers internalized the consequences of failure in vivid, unforgettable ways. 7. Onmyodo, rituals and strategic divination. Samurai frequently consulted onmyoji, masters of astrology and ritual, to determine auspicious times for battles or important decisions. Some generals believed that the timing of a strike or the sequence of attacks could change fate itself. Others consulted rituals to curse rivals or protect their own forces, blending strategy with superstition. Even the most disciplined warriors recognized that success sometimes required both skill and unseen guidance, merging logic with fear of the unknown. 8. The Siege of Hara Castle, 1638. During the Shimabara Rebellion, samurai laid siege to Hara Castle for months. When it finally fell, 37,000 rebels, men, women, and children, were slaughtered. Teenaged warriors, trained from birth, carried out orders with ruthless precision. Survivors described a landscape of devastation, rivers filled with bodies, castles and villages burned, and cries echoing through the mountains. This event illustrates how samurai discipline demanded absolute obedience, even at the cost of human life. History remembers it as one of the darkest episodes of their era. 9. The deadly training of samurai. Becoming a samurai was grueling and often deadly. Recruits trained with live blades, endured extreme drills, and faced near-constant injury. Some peasants were used as live practice targets, while instructors pushed students to the brink of death. Mistakes could be fatal. This harsh system forged warriors of unimaginable skill and endurance, capable of precision, focus, and brutality unmatched in any other army of the time. It was a world where failure was literally punished with death, and survival required total dedication. 10. The Fall of the Samurai. When the Meiji Restoration abolished the samurai class, many warriors refused to live without honor. Some became ronin, wandering as mercenaries or outlaws, while others chose death over dishonor. Even after their fall, samurai principles influenced Japanese culture and warfare. Their legacy of discipline, loyalty, and strict moral codes left a shadow that still fascinates the world today. The samurai may have vanished as a class, but the weight of their history, their brutality, courage, and unwavering code continues to haunt imagination and scholarship alike. These were men of honor, discipline, and unmatched skill, but their world was far darker than the legends suggest. The samurai were more than warriors. They were enforcers of a world where loyalty could cost life, and tradition demanded blood and sacrifice. If you thought you knew the samurai, think again. History is darker than legend, and their secrets are waiting to be uncovered. Subscribe to Mind Snack for more dives into the shadows of history, where the truth is darker, stranger, and far more fascinating than fiction.